News Radio 59 and our information check at 59. The weather situation remains extremely rugged. The winds are out there 55 miles per hour at times in gusts. There's tremendous drifting going on. It is not too cold. The temperature is actually +1 Celsius, 33 degrees, but it's going to get colder, down into the 20s, down into the mid-teens tonight. And the situation is really not going to clear up in any way measurable until about Wednesday is the way we have it now. We'll go into more details on the weather immediately following the network news.
This is WEEI, CBS in Boston, News Radio 59.
The State Department of Public Works has started a rescue effort for motorists stranded on Route 128. We just had a report for you. Scattered power outages have hit the metropolitan area of Boston, including the Back Bay and Copley Square neighborhoods. The mayor of Revere says that city is virtually underwater, about a third of it anyway, with high waters forcing wide-scale evacuations. The entire state declared under a state of emergency by Governor Dukakis. So it's a rugged situation, and the people are rising to it, and we'll be reporting more on this, of course, in the hour ahead. Now, world and national news from CBS upcoming, and the time is just about 3 o'clock in the morning. We can't tell you exactly when because we're a little indeterminate here ourselves, to tell you the honest truth. I can say this to you while we're waiting for this to happen, that this weather situation and these gusts will continue, though the winds will be moving downward a bit, but not enough to make any difference. The drifting, which is the big problem, is expected to continue. And before we end this thing, we're going to have somewhere between 15 and 20 inches of snow, which is not too awfully much less than we had in that big inundation back on January the 20th. And this time, making it worse are these tremendous winds and the drifts that come from them and the consequence of them. So we're going to move now to CBS for your report of the news, and it is 3 o'clock in the morning.
CBS News. Egypt's President Anwar Sadat today takes his appeal for military aid to Capitol Hill. I'm David Jackson reporting on the CBS Radio Network. Sadat has separate sessions scheduled with members...
All persons with emergencies, and we've asked everyone to open their homes so that if there are any stranded motorists nearby, they may have refuge.
Airline schedules to northeastern airports are a shambles, and some coastal flooding is reported from New Jersey to Boston. The United Mine Workers Union...
I've been driving in early in the morning to go to work, like the postmen and the police and the doctors and so forth. This is the worst storm I've ever seen out here. Now, for people who are listening, I live about 25 miles west of Boston in the town of Sudbury. I live right near the main route of Route 20 and not too far from Route 9. Jim, this is the highest snow and the highest drifting snow I think I've ever seen.
What's it like outside your house?
White. Very, very white. Everywhere.
I mean, how deep is the drifting there, Lynn?
Well, I just went out there to try to do a little shoveling, and at one point I went in up to my hips. Now, I'm not the tallest person in the world, but I'm not the shortest either.
Okay.
It is a very light, fluffy snow, but that really doesn't make any difference when you're trying to shovel it.
No. And no car or anything else on wheels is going to get through that unless it's about 12 feet tall.
Absolutely. I can see Route 20 from the back of my house where I'm standing right now in the downstairs room. And usually at this time of the morning you see an occasional truck or a few cars, the headlights go by. And I can't see anything right now. Nothing is moving. And as far as I can tell, this section of Route 20, although it may have been plowed once last night, is now virtually unplowed. And as far as the streets around where I live, I know I just walked up there. There hasn't been a plow down here at all.
As we see it out of our window up here and on the 44th floor of the Prudential Tower, when you look out a window downward in a storm like this, you don't see much of anything, but you can see enormous horizontal movement of white. Mm-hmm. So the winds are still blowing, it is still drifting, and the snow is still coming down.
Oh, absolutely. The snow is coming down here. And as a matter of fact, the flakes are larger. I think anyone who was out yesterday noticed that it was a fine, granular, light snow. Now the flakes have turned to pretty good-sized snowflakes, but it's still coming down. Not just blowing around, but coming down.
Okay, so you've got snow up to your windowsills there, no doubt.
Absolutely. And we are also getting some light flickering, which means that we may suffer out here what you people have already suffered in there.
Well, we're not suffering, but a lot of people in the area are, about 20,000 people with this outage here in the Back Bay. But apparently they have found, or they thought they had found, the last time I talked to a Boston Edison representative, Lynn, what the cause was. And once they find the cause, then they can pretty much get around to restoring power, but it has not been restored as yet.
Yeah, I would suggest that virtually everyone is going to be staying at home if they're home now, or staying at work if they're at work now. There will be very little transportation as far as I can judge from this vantage point. Which is no vantage point at all, Jim.
Yeah, well, that's true. Len, they're not even trying to get cars out of drifting and stuck situations. They're just rescuing people in them. And nobody really knows when they'll try to get to those cars. The efforts of snow removal, even on the main arteries, is almost impossible at this hour. They're making cracks at it a little, but the drifting defeats them in certain areas, or flooding, one or the other.
Sure.
Well, Len, we will not have you here at the station this morning.
Unless you know of some other mode of travel, such as teleportation, I doubt if I can be there in time.
Well, okay. If you have any esoteric friends, you work on that.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you for calling, Len.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, so if you're home, like Len, the thing to do is to stay there. And nobody will say you nay if you don't get to your appointed job this morning. The situation now is, I think we can tell you that approximately, if our clock is correct, and we're not quite sure whether it is or not, it's about 24 minutes past 3 o'clock in the morning.
This is We the People, a look at...
Very briefly here on sports, there wasn't very much last night in terms of concern, and it appears that there are a lot of power outages in the area. We're suffering from one ourselves. We're on emergency power here at WEEI in the Prudential Tower. Suffice it to say that if your power is out, you are certainly not alone. Now, we are trying to get in contact with Boston Edison and Massachusetts Electric at this hour, and we hope to be presenting at least an updated list of where the lights are out. We should have that shortly, as soon as we can, and we'll bring it to you. So please do not call us to report an outage. We are trying the best we can to keep abreast of all of them, and when we get any rundown or any fix on this thing, we're not going to keep it a secret. Okay? Now we have a message from KQED Incorporated, San Francisco.
What's going on goes on first on WEEI News Radio 59, Greater Boston's only complete news and information station.
Where the time now is 3:32 in the morning.
Knock on any door in the Northeast tonight. They'll tell you we're being hit by a howling blizzard.